When your dog goes still on a walk, do you know what they are actually telling you? Most owners tighten the leash, say the dog's name once, and keep moving. But that stillness, that particular kind of frozen quiet, is one of the most precise messages a dog can send, and most people walk right past it every single day. There is a whole language happening between you and your dog that science has spent decades decoding. A language built not from sound or words, but from muscle and posture and breath. And if you have been missing it, which most owners quietly are, you have been living alongside a conversation aimed directly at you this entire time. There is one signal in particular, one most owners mistake for a behavioral problem that we will get to later. And once you understand it, everything else shifts. Let us explore what is genuinely unfolding. 1. Your dog has been sending distress signals you mistook for personality. There is a category of behavior that animal behaviorists call calming signals. The yawn that appears from nowhere, the sudden intense interest in the ground, the slow, deliberate blink, the look away, the full body shake that happens when there is nothing wet to shake off. These are not random. Norwegian researcher Turid Rugaas spent decades documenting these signals across hundreds of dogs and found a consistent, structured communication system that dogs use both with each other and with the humans they live beside. Your dog yawns at you when tension is rising, not because they are tired, because they are asking for things to slow down. A dog who looks away during a charged moment is not ignoring you. They are trying to de-escalate. Most people read these signals backward. They push through, judge them, correct around them, or dismiss them entirely. And the dog, who has been communicating with precision, quietly learns that no one is listening. That is not a distracted dog. That is a dog who has been speaking into silence. 2. The leash is not a tool. It is a conversation. Most people think of a leash as a control mechanism, something that keeps the dog close, keeps them safe, prevents the worst outcomes. But the moment that leash carries tension, something else begins entirely. When you feel resistance, your body responds before your brain does. Your grip tightens, your arm stiffens, your shoulders pull back. That physical tension travels down the leash in under a second, and your dog feels it before you have finished processing your own reaction. Research into the biomechanics of leash walking has shown that a tightened leash elevates cortisol in dogs measurably and almost immediately. Their movement becomes more reactive. Their scanning behavior increases. And here is the part most owners never consider. Your dog was already reading your body before the Ash went taut. Your pace, the angle of your shoulders, the rhythm of your breathing, all of it. So the tension most people assume originates with the dog, often started with the owner, and simply moved downward. 3. They read your nervous system before you do. There is a reason dogs are deployed in clinical settings for anxiety, trauma, and PTSD. It is not sympathy. It is accuracy. Studies using cortisol detection have confirmed what experienced handlers have known for a long time. A dog can detect a stress response in a human body before that human has consciously registered the feeling themselves. Your scent changes. Your micro-expressions shift. The cadence of your breathing alters in ways too subtle for another human to catch, and your dog catches all of it. This is where the invisible tension becomes something worth taking seriously. Dogs have a sense of smell between 10,000 and 100,000 times more sensitive than yours. That is not a poetic exaggeration. That is a biological fact. When your dog responds to your unacknowledged, jed stress, they are not overreacting. They are not inventing something to react to. They are responding to real data your body broadcast before your mind caught up with it. That is not a sensitive dog. That is a finely calibrated instrument responding to something real. 4. Displacement behaviors are a signal most owners correct instead of read. A dog who starts sniffing the ground intensely when another dog approaches is not distracted. A dog who sits down abruptly in the middle of a charged interaction is not being stubborn. These are called displacement behaviors, actions that are contextually out of place, which is precisely what makes them meaningful. When a dog cannot resolve an internal conflict, the nervous system redirects. The dog does something, anything that releases pressure from the inside. And what that behavior looks like on the outside is often something owners try to train away. They pull the leash, they repeat a command, they interpret the behavior as defiance rather than what it actually is, a nervous system working hard to stay regulated under conditions that feel genuinely overwhelming. Research into Canine stress responses consistently shows displacement behaviors spike in environments of high social pressure, unpredictability, or when an owner's own emotional state is elevated and unresolved. The dog is not the source of the problem. The dog is describing the problem with the only vocabulary they have. 5. The freeze is the loudest signal of all. Before a dog growls, before they snap, before anything registers as a warning to most owners, they go still. Not relaxed still. A specific quality of stillness where breathing shallows, weight shifts slightly forward, and every muscle holds position. Ethologists call this the freeze response, and in canine behavior, it represents one of the clearest pre-escalation signals in the entire behavioral sequence, and it is almost universally misread. Most owners see a still dog and assume the situation is fine. The dog is not reacting, so the dog must be okay. But the freeze is not the absence of reaction. It is reaction held in suspension. It is a dog using everything they have not to cross into something they cannot pull back from. When you learn to see the freeze for what it is, you stop 100 situations before they start. When you miss it, you find yourself wondering why your dog seemed perfectly fine, until, all at once, they were not. 6. Tension lives in the body long after the moment passes. Here is what most owners do not understand about canine stress. It does not reset when the trigger disappears. Research into cortisol recovery in dogs has shown that after a significant stress event, hormone levels can remain elevated for 40 minutes to over an hour. Your dog needs genuine time and quiet to return to baseline, but most owners do not know this. A dog who had a hard encounter on a walk and is then immediately brought into a loud, busy household is still running on elevated cortisol. Every new stimulus lands on a system that is already sensitized. Small things become large things. The dog seems unpredictable. The owner grows frustrated. Nobody connects it to what happened 45 minutes ago. This is called trigger stacking, and it is one of the most under-recognized sources of behavioral difficulty in otherwise well-adjusted dogs. Your dog is not suddenly difficult. Your dog is still carrying something you assumed was already behind them. 7. They have been asking you to slow down from the very beginning. Think about the last time your dog stopped on a walk and you pulled them forward. Think about the last time they yawned in the middle of a training session and you kept going. Think about the last time they tried to create distance from something and you closed that distance for them. Every one of those moments was a message, and every time the message was overridden, your dog learned something, not the lesson you intended. They learned their signals do not land. That communication moves in one direction, that the tension they are working hard to resolve is invisible to the one presence in their world they trust most. Research on dogs who communicate consistently without being heard shows a clear and predictable pattern. Their threshold drops, their reactivity increases. The behaviors that were once subtle become impossible to ignore because subtlety stopped working somewhere along the way, and they had no other option. That is not a dog with a behavioral problem. That is a dog who learned to speak louder because speaking softly got them nowhere. What shifts everything is not a new training method or a different collar or a behavior consultant. It is attention, the specific, deliberate, practiced act of watching your dog the way they have always been watching you. Your dog has been fluent in your nervous system since the first weeks they knew you. They feel your tension in the leash before you feel it in your hand. They read the weight in your posture before you have formed a thought about it. They know when something is wrong before you have decided whether to admit it. All they are asking is that you learn even a fraction of the language they mastered for you. Every yawn, every freeze, every deliberate look away, every moment of stillness you walked past without understanding what it meant, all of it was aimed at you. All of it was waiting to be seen. Subscribe to this channel for weekly videos on Healed by My Dog TV. Make sure you leave a comment, share, hit the like button,